Get ready to storm the trenches, everyone, because this is Valiant Hearts: The Great War. I'm Desmond for Plus 10 Damage, coming to you from downtown Vancouver, British Columbia, and this is my review. A video game inspired by letters written during the First World War doesn't come along every day, so I just knew I had to give this one a try. Valiant Hearts: The Great War is the latest game from Ubisoft Montpellier, the same studio that made 2013's excellent Rayman Legends. It tells the story of 4 separate characters and the struggles they faced during the onset of the First World War. This game made a huge splash at this year's E3 conference using the powerful image of a dog roaming a war-torn battlefield set to haunting piano notes. It's a setting that has never been fully explored in video games. So one of the unique things about Valiant Hearts is you actually never shoot a gun in the game. Sure, you take control of many giant war machines throughout the course of the game, but you never shoot a personal firearm in Valiant Hearts. And that's a rare thing for a video game about war. Made with the fantastic UbiArt framework engine, Valiant Hearts is an absolutely gorgeous looking game. The visual style created by the talented artist resembles a highly detailed graphic novel, mixed with an almost quaint storybook vibe, and your eyes will soak in all the rich atmosphere. Not only does the game capture the feel of bleak warfare, the clever uses of depth of field are very effective at opening up the game's levels. Along with this year's Child of Light, it's obvious that Ubisoft can craft some really beautiful looking titles, and I really hope to see some more games developed using UbiArt framework. Valiant Hearts respectfully draws inspiration from plenty of sources, and does a fine job of blending them together seamlessly. The developers gently borrowed many elements that may seem familiar, from old school 2D games to point and click adventures. And even the stealth parts feel like a nod to Mark of the Ninja. Some of the standout sections of Valiant Hearts were the driving stages, and they really reminded me of the music stages from Rayman Legends. Along with some light platforming, solving puzzles in Valiant Hearts takes up the bulk of the gameplay, and they usually consist of throwing objects at certain targets. All of these tasks are very easy, and I would go as far to say that maybe they're a little too easy. Now, as some of you might know, I'm a fan of incredibly difficult games. And as I played my way through Valiant Hearts, I found that the endless throw the bomb puzzles got really repetitive and downright tedious, especially in the later levels. As a result, the game's repetitive puzzles really lost my patience and interest near the end, and it got so bad that I found myself often failing many of the timing-based puzzles. The story bounces back and forth between 4 main characters whose fates intertwine using the First World War as a backdrop, each of them having their own separate motivations driving them through the chaos. Throughout, you'll find collectible items, all related to World War I, and each of them comes with a snippet of information shedding light on actual historical events. All of these brief tidbits are fascinating, but it's disappointing that they only scratch the surface of World War I, and it feels like a missed opportunity. For such a complex story told from multiple viewpoints in an era of terrible conflict, the character sprites are not animated with much emotion, and are only capable of expression in grunts and sighs. As I enthusiastically started Valiant Hearts, I was ready to be swept away by its epic story, but by the halfway mark I realized that I wasn't really emotionally invested in the characters, or what motivated them. I found the writers played it a little too safe with the subject matter and sanitized the impact of the brutal warfare of the era. The decision to water things down ends up betraying the storytelling to the point of adding awful cliches, and it got way too formulaic during the end run. I mean, how many times does a main character have to quote-unquote die just to be saved at the last minute? Tonally, Valiant Hearts is all over the place. One minute explaining to you that real-life soldiers used urine-soaked rags to help neutralize the effects of chlorine gas, and the next having in-game civilians get up and walk away unscathed after spending time engulfed in clouds of gas. Then, after a lighthearted romp through Valiant Hearts, the game abruptly switches to a ridiculously serious tone right at the very end, and it comes off as an awkward moment that doesn't quite fit. And for fear of spoilers, I'll say no more. Valiant Hearts: The Great War is all about telling its sweeping epic story of 4 separate individuals. Like last year's Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, it's a game that tells a simple yarn aimed at a more casual player. One that hasn't gorged on deeper or heavier narrative material before in either books, movies, or television. In this mass consumer era of entertainment, there's just so much more media that does a better job of portraying war than Valiant Hearts. Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers are 2 movies that you could watch. Jeremy Scahill's book Blackwater retells accounts of mercenary overuse during the Iraq War, and the amazingly informative 26-part documentary The World at War are just a few off the top of my head. Or if you just want to stick with video games, you could play 2012's brilliant Spec Ops: The Line, a game that deals with the negative effects of battle stress on the human psyche.
If you're looking for a little bit more depth on the subject matter, I would suggest watching the movie Paths of Glory. Or better yet, even go down to your local Veterans Center. The bottom line is that if you're not heavily invested in the characters in Valiant Hearts or the story, the gameplay is just not going to do it for you. I was excited when this game was announced at this year's E3. Not a lot of games covered World War I, and it seemed like a unique opportunity. It's just a shame it didn't dive deeper into the source material. I give Valiant Hearts: The Great War a 7.5 out of 10. Well, that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you want to check out any more great reviews and articles, you can head on over to Plus 10 Damage. And please let me know what you think of this review in the comments below. And until next time, game on.